Everyone has been saying this when it comes to Strange Darling, and I do think it's true. If you're interested in going to see this movie, just go see it without looking into it first before you have anything spoiled for you. I don't think the movie is going to necessarily be worthwhile if you already know what's going to happen. That's my spoiler-free thoughts. Everything beyond this is spoiler city. So I feel like this movie pulled me in two different directions that are warring inside of me. One side is winning a little bit more. That's the ranty side that maybe you guys are here for. I'm going back to the age-old review format of things I liked and then things I didn't like. So let's begin with the good news first, shall we? I enjoyed the non-linear structure of the movie. That's its kind of big shtick. The movie is told in 6 chapters, but the chapters are all mixed up. It's told completely out of order. But they are very clearly, particularly ordered in a way to hide a certain fact about the story that kind of changes everything that you see in the first half. It's certainly not the first movie ever to do this, but I do think it made this particular story work, and it made it more interesting. If it had just played in chronological order, this would have been so boring. Strange Darling is also shot entirely on 35mm film, which is something that the director, I guess, really felt needed to be in big, bold letters right at the start of this movie. And don't get me wrong, it looked good. It made the movie feel more gritty, more real, made the violent moments feel more violent. But the compulsion to announce that right before the movie starts, like literally in the opening credits of the movie, is so uncool. What I really, really liked about the movie is the performances from Kyle Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald. I'm used to seeing Kyle Gallner as the leading man in horror movies. I think we all are. But he's usually like more or less the good guy, you know, the protagonist. But seeing him be scary was fun for a change. And honestly, Willa Fitzgerald gave this movie way more than it deserved. I'll elaborate in a second, but those last like 10-ish minutes, like, oh my God. It's such a dark scene, and I'll just immediately get into the spoiler. Essentially, her character is dying in a car seat after being shot, and the camera just stays on her, and you're literally like just watching her fade away. It's actually kind of scary, like how real it looked, but I was glued to the screen those last 10 minutes. She was incredible. But speaking of Willa Fitzgerald's character, that brings me to what I really did not like about this movie, and I really can't reconcile these feelings with the things I liked. So to kick this part off, I am going to read a direct quote from the director, J.T. Molnar, about what he feels the movie is about. And I've said this a million times before, director intent is and isn't important, but this quote in particular I feel like is really telling. For me, the movie is about stereotypes, expectations based on certain archetypes, and subverting expectations. It's also about learning about yourself when you're watching the movie, in the regard of thinking, wow, I expected this person to act like this and they did this instead. So we start off the movie thinking that Kyle Gallner's character, who is just credited as the demon, is the bad guy. Because, well, historically and statistically speaking, that is correct. That would be a fair assumption. Halfway through, it is revealed that Willa Fitzgerald's character, who is just credited as the lady, is actually a serial killer. Like, for one thing, this just felt like super performative, like equality. Like, hey, look, women can be serial killers too, but unsurprisingly missing the mark and the nuances when it comes to the differences between male serial killers and female serial killers. Sorry for the binary there. So towards the end of the film, the lady is handcuffed to a fridge. She's managed to kill the demon by ripping into his jugular with her teeth and watching him bleed out. But the cops have already been called. So we watch her like pull down her pants, and then she lays on the ground and kind of starts wailing and crying to kind of set the scene as the cops come in. A scene of like sexual violence has happened here. And what she did was in self-defense. That's how she's trying to paint the scene. So of course, when the cops come in, we have a man cop and a woman cop. The woman rushes over immediately to the lady and is like, we need to get her out of here and get her medical attention. And the man cop is immediately just like, well, are we even sure she's a victim? Like, blah, 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 blah. And they argue over this for an annoyingly long time. Eventually the scene does move on and they've gotten the lady into the car and they're driving her to get medical attention when the lady, of course, pulls a gun on the cops because she is a serial killer. So she makes the woman get out of the car, but not before her colleague, the man, has a chance to call her a dumb bitch for believing women. So I wanna reiterate the last bit of that quote from the director that I said a second ago. It's all about learning about yourself when you're watching the movie in regard of thinking, wow, I expected this person to act like this and they did this instead. So best case scenario, it seems like, for this director was people leaving the theater and thinking like, maybe we shouldn't believe all women, am I right? And all of that just really painted this movie in an icky light, which sucked because there were moments that I enjoyed. I just feel like telling a story like this is a much more nuanced conversation than this director was willing to have. And I'm just left overall like not surprised, just disappointed yet again. So I want to hear from you guys because I know a lot of people, I've seen it all over Letterboxd, really like this movie. So tell me what you thought in the comments. And if you want to see more horror movie discussions, you can check out my other videos. I will see you, I don't know when this video is going up actually. I'll see you in a couple of days with a new video. Until then, stay strange. Bye.